Shabbat Shalom everybody. This is probably the 10th time I've tried to make this video. My mind is just not here, but I want to share something with you. Before I do, obviously it's been another difficult week with our hostages, 224 of them still trapped in Gaza under the rule of Hamas. We pray for their physical, spiritual and emotional health, and may they be released healthy and complete to their families even before Shabbat. I want to share a thought that I had with you this week about this week's Parsha. This week's Parsha, God comes to Abraham and says, Lech lecha, go for yourself. Go to this promised land. Leave everything that you know, and it's time to move forward to a different place. And Sarah, his amazing wife, follows him. And it's such a beautiful, romantic story. You think they're going to turn up to the land of Canaan, this promised land, and it's flowing with milk and honey, and it's perfect. And there are birds singing, and perfection. Everything's wonderful. It's God's land. And they arrive, and what is there? There's famine. There is famine. The vision that Abraham had is very short-lived. They have to turn around and go down to Egypt to find food. Can you imagine the stress? Can you imagine the disappointment? Can you imagine the upset? Could you imagine how Sarah could have turned to Abraham and said, "You idiot, look what you've led us to. How could have you done this? You made such a mistake." We don't hear that. I'm sure there was discussion between them. I'm sure there was difficult discussion between them, but nothing like that. Then they're on their way down to Egypt, and Abraham says something, and this is what I want to share with you. Abraham says, "Now I know you are a beautiful woman." What's he referring to? He's saying that the Egyptians relate to women in a very different way. If they know that I am your husband, they will kill me for you, for your beauty. So please, we have to deal with this between us. But the word now I know you're a beautiful woman, I have always interpreted that Abraham is seeing a new beauty in his wife because of the difficulties that they're going through, but she's still with him, she's still supporting him. He's seeing that beauty in her that he hasn't seen before when things were perfect and easy. That's one interpretation, but I thought of something this week. Perhaps by Abraham not just saying, "You are beautiful and therefore the Egyptians are going to endanger my life," he says, "Now I know you are beautiful." Maybe it's not a new beauty he's seeing. Maybe he actually made a mistake. Maybe Abraham actually said the wrong thing to his wife. It happens. Men say the wrong thing to their wives, and women say the wrong thing to their husbands. In fact, I have many a time walked into my house and gone, "Natan, do not say XYZ. I walk in, I open my mouth and I say XYZ. Countless times it's happened to me. The question is how I, as a person who made the mistake, relates to that, and two, how the person, my wife, relates to my mistake. This is where it can fall apart with blame and anger and hurt and carrying that into the future and reminding me 3 years later, or it can come with understanding. What do I mean? The more self-aware we are, the more we understand what we are going through, the more we can understand why we say or do things, the right things or the wrong things. So if I say to myself, "Natan, don't say this," and then I say it, it's likely that I said it because I haven't dealt with it. I've allowed it to be, those of you that know my teachings, to become part of my gunny sack. And it's not the only thing on my mind, it's not the only stress, it's not the only difficulty, and it just bubbled up and burst out. So I need to say to myself, "Natan, you need to deal with your stuff because it's bubbling up and affecting your family." And the same thing maybe for my wife on the other side. She needs to maybe be understanding, go, "Wow, Natan must be stressed because this isn't Natan to say that something that's hurtful. Maybe something's going on for him. Or maybe something's going on for me that I'm hurt by that. Maybe I shouldn't be hurt by that." But the more self-aware we are, the more we can then have a beautiful, truthful conversation together, a respectful conversation, in understanding where it came from and dealing with it. I'm able to say, "Oh my gosh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to hurt you. I'm really, really stressed. That's not an excuse. That's a reality. And I'm so sorry that it came out that way." And she gets to say, "Natan, I totally understand. Thank you for taking on so much for the family. This is going on, that's going on. I understand it was hurtful to me. I don't need to hide that. My wife doesn't need to hide that it was hurtful to her, but she can then be understanding towards me or say, you know what, it actually wasn't a hurtful thing that you said, but I know that for me right now, I'm in a real fragile place. And then we get to truly, deeply understand each other on a different level. This week, even though a war is going on, we managed with the incredible team that we have to launch Sparks of Eden Marriage Experience. There's a link down the bottom. Click on that link and just see, well, not just see, take a look at the details. And if you are ready to, which you should be, dive forward and put down your down payment. There are only 14 more places for couples. Only 14 more couples. That is it. It's selling out. And once it's sold out, that is it. It's an island, and they're not going to build more huts just for us. Shabbat Shalom.